Welcome to the very first in-person Six Figure Design Club student interview. Today, I'm here with Nick Croce, who joined the course about a year ago, and we're going to go through who he is. We're going to go through where he was before Six Figure Design Club, where he is now, and his plans for the future. So to give you a quick intro to who Nick is, he is he's now a Squarespace web designer from here in Liverpool. He came into the program, I think it was November in 2023. After that, we've even met up in person a couple of times, and I hold Nick up as the star boy, the shining example of what you can do in the course, of what someone can achieve in just a year. So I'm going to butcher his intro a little bit here. So I'm going to pass it over to Nick. He's going to give you a proper intro to who he is, and we'll get stuck into his story. So hello, Nick. If you could tell everyone just a little bit about you and tell me where you were before you came into the course. I think that's a good place to start.
Well, firstly, thanks for having me on the show. So yeah, I was working 9 to 5 as a graphic designer when I first met you, as you know. And I felt a little bit lost in life at the time. Obviously, I had a good job, a good 9 to 5 job. I was working in an agency, which is a really big deal if you're a designer, but I didn't feel as fulfilled as I could be. And then I just saw your reel on Instagram one day for Six Figure Design Club. And I was really interested in both Squarespace, which is something I hadn't used much before, and also your course, because I just really liked your no BS approach almost on the video. So I sent you a DM. We got to chatting, and I liked your approach. You didn't feel salesy or pushy. So I had a little think over. I went on holiday, and then on holiday I decided, you know what, I'm going to pull the trigger and join your course. And once I joined the course, I just decided I have to go all in on this and I have to make it work, or there's no point in joining. So that's what I did. I went all in.
I love it. Like, what's mad about you? And like, we'll get into this, but because we'll talk about figures and numbers and whatever. But you literally spend every single last penny on this program from some random guru online. Like, I don't think people grasp it, because I always like shout about you from the rooftops, and I just go into a little bit behind why you thought, right. So I think at the time the course was, how much was it? 1.5 grand?
Two grand?
2 grand. And like, what you want to do a payment plan, right?
Yeah, it was by far the most expensive course I've ever seen for a design kind of course related.
And like, what was the moment where you were like, right, I'm going to spend the most money I've ever spent on some random fella online?
Weirdly, that almost makes it appealing, but I think I just really liked your personality. I liked your style of teaching. I liked your videos, and almost kind of a selfish reason, but you were from the same city as me. And so I thought, if this guy he exists right here in the same world as me. Like, he's not some guru in LA or somewhere that I'm not close to. He's right here doing what I want to do. So if I could just talk to him and make sure he's real, that's a kind of catfish.
Not a hologram.
Yeah. And you would post stories on Instagram, if you remember, of your coffee shop. And it was actually, funnily enough, on the same road that I worked on. And so that just made you feel more approachable to me. And then once I got to chatting with you, I realized this guy's all right. He's not pushy. He's not asking me to join and pay money. Almost, I interviewed myself. I was asking the questions and you were just answering them. Like, I asked how much it costs. I asked everything. And that kind of approach, I think, really helps you find out what you want as a person and make that decision easier. So
yeah, like, what was it though where you were like, shit, this is so much money, but I'm just gonna do it? Like, because I understand like the trust building, like that's a big factor that is kind of unique to you, I guess.
Yes, it is unique.
You're lucky boy. You're lucky boy. You can do everything in person. But like, even when I see something that's 2-3 grand to invest in, I still get that like, oh, that's gonna hurt the bank. Like, where did you just muster up the courage to go, right, sod it, I'm doing it?
I'm not sure. It's hard to put a pinpoint on exactly what it was, but it was the combination of your delivery of the videos, the dream you sold me, the chatting with you. And ultimately, I just got a feeling that, you know, you weren't full of shit. I got the feeling that you were genuinely just trying to help people out. And I knew in my heart it was possible to make this kind of money and run a business offering design services. I just hadn't cracked the code yet. And it was pretty obvious from watching your stuff. You sent me a lot of free stuff that I could view, YouTube videos. It was pretty obvious that you have cracked the code and you figured it out. You've done that, the hard yards that I wasn't sure where to start. And I really liked the prescriptive nature of how you sold things in your course, step by step. That makes things really approachable for somebody who doesn't know where to start. And it makes it really tangible for me to grab. And
I think, you know what? I think that makes sense. Like, so many people only give like the surface level. They go, well, you know, the theory behind this is, and you know, if you get 10 clients, well, that's $10,000. And you go, right, well, yeah, but how do I get that thing? And so that's really important. It's like, for anyone watching, you can judge someone's like not professional. What's the word? You can judge someone's credibility, I guess, from how prescriptive they are in nature. Because if they know exactly how to do something, then they will just say, do this, and you win. Like,
yeah,
it's simple as that. Like, and I know that you came from a slightly designy background, but you'd never even touched Squarespace before, like ever, right? And so I was going to say just quickly, but not even quickly. Let's just go into like your job. So, because we were talking off camera, weren't we? We were like, there's people in the course right now who, you know, deep down that they should be quitting their jobs because you had the exact same thing. Can you tell everyone, all one viewers who's watching this, talk to us about like the job that you were in, how, because it's super important how you balanced it with trying to learn a new skill, trying to scale your company, and then about how you quit. Because that's quite a funny story, right? Like, how you actually quit.
Yeah. So
go on.
It's not easy. But if you know you really want something, then you just have to make it happen. You have to make it happen. So I made the decision while I was away that I can't stay 9 to 5. Like, it might not even necessarily been the job I was at. It was just the 9 to 5, the monotony of the 9 to 5, traveling to work, traveling back home, working longer hours, not necessarily feeling recognized. Like, I could put in a 10 out of 10 day or a 1 out of 10 day. It's the same pay. It's the same day tomorrow. So it's hard. And if you know in your head, that's probably how people end up freelance. They know in their head that they want to do something different. Then I knew I had to commit and make something happen, because otherwise I'll be in the same place next year and the year after, where I'm trying to put together these hodgepodge side hustles where I don't know how to do anything. And I think, almost going back to your original point, the price and the sheer size of the course almost puts you in like a fight or flight mode. Like, I have to make this work now, so let's make it work. So I made that decision that I was going to make the course work. And you'll know, with me, you kind of helped me create a plan for my day. So I was waking up at like 6 a.m.
I remember it, man. I remember it.
Traveling to town. I'd go to Pret. I'd get myself a coffee, and I would just start sending pitches straight away to clients, or hopefully clients. Yeah. I wasn't getting many clients at the time. Prospects that would ignore me. But I think I just didn't get discouraged. I just stuck with it. I pitched every day. And you almost master a craft of pitching and dealing with clients. Even when you don't have clients, with prospects, you get better at doing that and sharpening your axe by just doing it and just constantly being rejected. And so I would do that every morning, as you know. Then I would go to the gym. After the gym, I would go to my 9 to 5, give that all I could. And then if I had a meeting booked in, I'd have a half-hour break. I would try to go on my break to Pret to take a video call with headphones on, which felt really unprofessional, but clients didn't really care, or they didn't really care. Yeah. So, God. And then after that, I would get home, and then time to relax. No, it was time to do more of the business. So it was time to actually fulfill, if I did have a client, time to fulfill the website, or it was time to work on my own website. It was time to do my profile on this site and this site and this site. There was always stuff to do, but eventually I did gain momentum by just relentlessly sticking to the plan and just not taking no for an answer.
Yeah, I love that. Like, it's super, super, super important, because so many people will, maybe they're not even in the course yet, but like, they are in a 9 to 5 or a 8 to 4 or whatever, like your standard work day. And they go, oh, I can't build a business because, you know, I've got to get home and, you know, make dinner. And you have to structure your day in a way that you fit things in. So there's like probably, well, there's two distinct things that we focused on with you when we worked together. Was like, okay, you've got client acquisition, or in fact, there's three distinct parts to the plan. So there's, pitching, which is, trying to get clients on the hook. Then there's call taking. So that'll be what client acquisition, I guess. And then client fulfillment, which is, okay, once you've got, clients in, you've got to service them. You've got to build the site for them. You might have to message them, you got to communicate with the client. So these three things. And it's like, okay, well, you know what you have to do. It's then fitting it into the day. So like for you, instead of being, oh, well, I just done a 9-hour day. Well, it's like, well, how can you fit it in your day?
Mhm.
Okay, you take a call on your break. You get up a bit earlier and make time in the morning. At night, well, you've got like 5 hours. It's a whole other work day. Now, people might watch and go, oh, well, I've got, 10 dogs or 18 kids or whatever. It works for everyone. Like, you'll know Brian in the course.
Of course.
So for those who don't know, Brian is in the course and he's got, 3 girls? And he's like, okay, well, I need to make this work. So he gets up. This is ridiculous. It's like the most ridiculous example, but he gets up at 4, does a work day, gets his, not a work day, does a couple of hours of work, takes his girls to school or gets them ready, takes them to school, has a nap, then does more work and then sees the girls again, has family time in the evening. So it's just about segmenting your day, really. And we were speaking off camera about like how that structure to your day has then informed everything that you do now. Like how you wake up, how not how you wake up, but like when you wake up, how you structure. Okay, I'm going from waking up into the gym, into work, into all of this, and like everything is segmented in a way that you don't even have to think about working.
Exactly.
It's just I get up, I do this. This is something I do. It's not like it takes any willpower. It's just that's as normal as getting up and taking a dump or like breathing or whatever. It's more normal for me to take a dump than it is to breathe. But like these are all things that you have to kind of bake into your system.
Yeah.
So off the back of that, how did because you've got super fit as well. Like it's not just work. I feel like it bleeds over into every element of your life. Once you start being regimented, you know what you want to do.
Yeah,
you
it
have
does.
proof of concept in terms of improving yourself. It just bleeds into everything.
You
Like
just become that.
the guy.
Yeah.
So,
you
like-
become the embodiment of self-improvement.
Yeah, like talk just a little bit about sort of. We'll come back to the work stuff in a minute, but in terms of how your life itself has changed, I think that's my favorite part about your specific journey. Is like all the other things around work. Like I just see you growing and growing, and waistline shrinking and shrinking, obviously. But like talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I think once you get that momentum, because when you first join the course, if you're working 9 to 5 like I was, it's very hard because you're going to get a lot of no's and you're going to feel like nothing's happening for you. Maybe I just joined the Squarespace train too late. Or like everything,
Saturated, it's saturated.
I can't be Sam. But eventually when you have that little bit of like a client nibbles or something happens, you build this kind of snowball. I've heard you put it before. And things just start getting really more natural. You start getting like a taste of like what it feels like to win. And then that bleeds into everything you do. Like it's not just making money. It's not just building a business. Like if I just put that same effort into exercising,
Yeah, yes.
maybe I'll actually get some results, because you can't half-ass these things. You have to go out there and apply the same dedication, the same work ethic that I'm applying to my business. Why can't I also apply that to my fitness? Those things go hand in hand anyway. I am my business. So
It's super true. Like I'm not a fitness guru. Like I love chocolate
That's
biscuits.
obvious.
Yeah, of course. But it bleeds into everything. Like if you are, if you're in shape and you eat healthy-ish and like you feel good, your mind's clearer, you've got more energy, you can work longer. And because you feel so motivated by the results that you see in business, you go, oh, why can't I just, well, I've got videos on the channel about pre-season, about treating your business and yourself like an athlete. That should run straight through everything that you do. And I
Mhm.
feel like you have I've sort of captured that and ran with it.
Mhm.
Like, okay, well, if I'm going to kill it in business, well, I'm going to get fit and kill it there. I'm going to feel better. I'm going to look better. Like, but then it splinters off into everything else. So like, you know, you got the new place. For anyone who doesn't know, don't go and try and find the house. But Nick's just got a 3-bedroom house with his missus. Like everything, you travel in the world. You tell the people, because I'm going to butcher your story, like about all the other things that have come with it.
Everything in my life has improved. It's not just the business, even like design skills. I already had design skills, but those have improved. Client skills, dealing with clients, talking on camera, these kind of things, they all improve. And your life doesn't just have to be work, because the whole point of doing what we're doing is to create the life that works around you. And so for me, that was moving out of my parents' place. If I was staying 9 to 5, I just didn't have the money to do that. I had to work from my parents' bedroom when I started my business. It was kind of humbling.
I remember that, taking the call, because you had to angle your camera
Just
to
to
be
hide.
like, don't see my bed.
Just to hide
It's
my bed
crazy,
and
man.
my TV, my PlayStation and everything from being...
That's mad.
So that's a little bit embarrassing, but if you can just look past that and put the work in, now I have my own place and I have this thing they call an office. And so
What?
it's very professional. So
It's amazing, man. It's such an amazing journey. And this is why I always hold you up as like the example. And this is why I wanted to do something in person, is because I don't feel like a webcam Google Meets interview does it justice.
yeah,
And you don't like talk yourself up enough. You should be like the most arrogant bastard in the world. Like, you know.
I'd be Sam Crawford then.
Yeah. Well, I forgot to mention this at the beginning. I can talk to the camera for this part. So me and Nick have quite clearly come in the exact same outfit. And I think it's quite obvious that Nick does actually want to be me. He refused to take the quarter zip off and just have the white t-shirt on. He's wearing the same
My
pants.
question is, why doesn't Sam take off the quarter zip? I'm the guest.
Well, yeah, that's valid.
And also, I'm clearly an upgrade on Sam. I'm like
Got more
Sam.
hair.
I have more hair. I'm a bit more handsome. I speak a bit nicer.
No, I'm not having
So-
that. I'm not. Like, cut the podcast. Nick, you kicked out. Can't be having that slander. I don't care about your story anymore. But anyway, I wanted to get that in because clearly Nick wants to be a clone, and it's working. I mean, you know, as soon as you started trying to dress like me, your business went like me, your fitness went like me. It all sort of come together, didn't it?
Yeah. I'd say the fitness has taken off on a different trajectory than yours. But
Excuse me.
Yeah, I think you're right. Basically, just be Sam Crawford, join this course, and then if you pretend to be Sam Crawford, which is oddly enough kind of true, if you just use Sam's systems and just do what Sam does, who's already figured out how to make this work, then it's going to work for you. But you have to commit to it. You can't put your own twist on it. People do this. I'm not going to use Squarespace. I'm going to do this. That might work for some people. But for me, I thought, I'm not going to put a twist on anything he says. I'm not going to say, Sam says book a call in for 12 hours in advance, so I'm going to be creative and book mine in for 24 hours. Just do what the course says, because it's already figured out for you. You don't need to think about how to do the things. Just do the things. And then once you do them, you gain experience, and then you can make the tweaks. Like, okay, I actually don't like the way Sam does this, so I'm going to do it this way. Which obviously hasn't translated to the outfit today. But
Nah, do you know what? That's super, super true. Like, people will try and just, I'll tweak this. I'll tweak this. The whole point, as you said before, is it is a step-by-step prescription. Do exactly this. I feel like a dictator, but it's like, just do exactly this and you'll win. Like, you know, I mean, winning looks different for different people, but in essence, you join the course. It's all about money. You join the course to make more money in Squarespace, you know, or it could be web design if you want to be a bit broader, but you know, if you want to be as successful as Nick, then come in, do the exact same things that I do. Run your day like I do. You want to obviously use Squarespace, use Bonsai for client communications, get a professional email, 10-star experience. The list goes on and on and on. And the one thing I remember that you said was, I'm not going to deviate whatsoever. I'm just going to do exactly what you say.
Yeah.
And it just works.
if it doesn't work, it's your fault.
Yeah,
And it did work. So
and then you can blame me.
Yeah.
Like, the best money that you can spend is when you pay someone and they are your brain. Like, you'll pay a personal trainer to give you your plan, to track your progress, to tell you when not to eat things and what to eat. You don't have to think, you just have to do.
Exactly. And
it's the exact same with this.
You don't have to figure it all out yourself. You don't have, if you can just drop your ego, you don't have to figure out how to build a business yourself. You don't have to figure out how to get in shape yourself. You can pay people who've already done it, walk down the path that you've walked down, ask them how they've done it, implement their process, and then you can adapt that. Okay, I don't like this, I'm going to do it this way. And if it works for you, that works for you. But you don't have to figure everything out yourself. Because if you tried to do that, you'd probably get nowhere in life.
Yeah.
And if you just ask somebody, how did you build your Squarespace website? No, I'm going to go on Google and I'm going to figure out how to invoice clients my own way. I could just ask Sam, how do you invoice clients? Oh, you use Bonsai? Yeah, that looks like a cool tool. Okay, I'm going to use that. And then it works, believe it or not. And now I've just saved hours of research because I've just listened to what you've said. I've implemented it. Maybe I don't like Bonsai for whatever reason. Then I'll try something else. But why would I waste time trying to figure it out myself when I could spend that time building a business?
That's where people trip up, is they think, I just figured it out myself. Like, that costs nothing. Well, hang on. It
Costs
does.
time.
Exactly. It does cost something. It costs you potentially years of your life spinning your wheels and get nowhere. And then you look back and you go, oh, Squarespace doesn't work. Well, no. The way you're doing Squarespace doesn't work.
I am a testament to. I tried to do design businesses. I even offered web design on something called Wix. But I offered these services, but I didn't have a system that I was confident in. And what you get with buying into Six Figure Design Club is literally a proven system that you're already confident in, because somebody has already taken that risk to make the system work. And all you need to do is just use it. So it's a no-brainer when you actually think about it.
Yeah, I think what's nice nowadays is that we have interviews like this, and we've got I think about 370 members between both. We've got a free version and we've got a paid version. The freebies, you can get the freebie in the description. It's like an hour. It's the first module. But anyway, between the two, we've got it's coming up on 400 probably by the time this video goes out. And it's like, okay, all of these people have got, even in the freebie, some level of a success. People who've gone through the paid course. I mean, literally the past week, we've seen people in the group like, oh, just today lands a £5,000 job. Pound job, so that's like $6.5K. We had everyone got, well, not everyone, but like a dozen people got accepted onto the Squarespace Expert Marketplace. All of these wins, you can just see the proof. So it's not like you took quite a gamble, to be fair. I think the course was out for 4 or 5 months when you joined. Now we're almost 2 years down the line, and as in for the course. So there's essentially no risk. I've done it. So many other people have done it. Got people coming on dressing like me. It works. I think now it, like you say, it's more of a no-brainer now. And yeah, it's nice to have living testament to. Well, because off on a tangent, but it's nice for me knowing that all the hours and all the years that I spent making it, or going through and messing up a ton of times, learning how to do things, then the almost a year it took me to make the program was actually worth it. To see, for those who don't know, Nick does loads of projects for By Crawford, which is my web design business. And just you smash it out the park, and it's just nice. It's just nice. In terms of kind of segues me on, in terms of where you are now, I want to go through talk to me about the past 6 months, because this is where I've seen you personally sort of take off to the man we see before us here today. So talk to me about that, and then I will leave what's next until the end, but talk to me about the past 6 months in particular, because I feel like that's been big.
Yeah. So in terms of the inputs, they're exactly the same as they were. They might even be a little bit less than they were when I was working 9 to 5. But the difference is it's what I'm receiving now. It's what's coming out of the fruits of my labors. When I first started, when I stayed consistent, when I learned how to pitch, when I built my profiles, all of those things, I still follow pretty much, as you said before, the same regiment today. I don't wake up at 6 anymore.
Thank God.
I don't get the train to town anymore, but I wake up, I do my pitches. It's the same thing, same curriculum that you taught me, same routine. The difference is now that I have some results. I took on cheap clients at the start, as you know. I still take on cheap clients now, like Sam.
Cheapo. Yeah.
But now I have the results. And those results kind of turn you into, as you put, the overnight success where like, okay, this guy's actually trustworthy now. He has hundreds of, I don't have hundreds of reviews yet. But
Close.
I've built 100 sites or so on Squarespace in the past year. I have lots of reviews. I have lots of good feedback and I have the skills. And so everything has just kind of culminated. It's made this big snowball that's turned into kind of a snowman now. It's Christmas. And now like I'm trying to say is the inputs are exactly the same. The only difference is now that I'm actually getting the rewards that I put of the work that I put in 6 months ago. Now I'm seeing the rewards from that.
Yeah. I think that's what people trip up on is the inputs pretty much always stay the same. So like, for instance, me and you probably do the exact same thing in so many regards is, wake up, go and grab a coffee and then pitch and then clear the inbox. And then that's pretty much it is like
day done.
Pitch. Yeah, pretty much. But do that then for about 10 hours is like send off pitches across all the different profiles that you have. So like Upwork, LinkedIn, Dribble, Behance, People Per Hour, Fiverr even. Send off all the pitches from, a week ago, like seeds that you've sown may start coming back.
Yep.
Okay, deal with current clients. Okay, then you have to do some building.
Yeah.
That's it, really.
Just today, I had a client or a lead come back to me that I last spoke to 3 months ago who disappeared. And now he's come back and he wants an even bigger project and with even more budget. So we'll see if I have to wait another 3 months to hear back from him. But that just shows, like you're saying, you are just planting these little seeds and some of them do come to fruition if you just wait. You have past clients who come back to you, referrals. That's a huge part of my business now that I wouldn't have had 6 months ago because I didn't have any clients. Now I have those clients come back to me. Hey, I want to add another page on my website. Can we price this up and do it? So then people come back to you. I have referrals from the same people. I've had 3 or 4 referrals from just one client alone. And all these things, like I say, they just build up this big, nice snowman of referrals and work at the end of the day. And then you're still pitching and you're still hunting for work, but it gets easier because the work almost starts to hunt you instead.
Yeah, that's such an important thing that people don't grasp is like your intensity of pitching will fall off eventually to where you do it maybe once a day.
Yep.
When you start, you have to be willing to pitch I think I had you pitching 4 times a day.
4 times a day.
4 times a day for weeks, if not months.
Which is expensive, by the way, if you're using Upwork.
But yeah, it does get expensive. It does take a lot of time. And you have to be willing to have faith in the inputs and know that the inputs are going to be exactly the same for the next 5 years, but just at a slightly slower cadence. So eventually you'll go down to 3, then 2, then once a day.
Yep.
But you've got to be willing to realize, okay, I'm going to spend a lot of time and a fair bit of money on like Connect, on Upwork specifically, and probably get nothing back. It might take 3 weeks, might take 4 weeks. But then if you've stacked that over a 6-month timeline, you'll have someone from 6 months ago get back to you, and maybe the next day, someone else from 6 months ago. And then you start to get all of the fruits of your labor from months and months ago from those inputs. Then you add into that, you've probably done some work within those 6 months. Your clients then become your salespeople and you start getting referrals. And then you do such a good job in this instance that I start passing work to you personally on behalf of my own web design business. And then all these things, it's like you're a magnet, and the one consistent thing is the pitching, and then everything else just gets sucked
Everything
in.
else comes to you.
And that's how you build your snowman.
You can kind of embrace, at the start, you don't embrace this because you don't appreciate it because you think, well, what I'm doing is not working. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars on Upwork. No one's getting back to me. I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my money. But now when I have a slower week or 2 weeks, I almost embrace that time. It's time for you to reflect on what you're doing, but it's also time to just keep putting the same inputs in, keep pitching. But you can also fine tune your website. There's things that you can do that almost set you up for the next wave of work that's going to come in, because it is inevitable. I've seen these waves happen many times over the last year where I've had 2 weeks where nothing happens. And then the next week I have call after call after call, client after client after client, and I am drowning in work. So things can change just like that. So if you can just stay confident in what you're doing and just almost embrace the calm, then you'll be able to embrace the storm.
Yeah, we've had this conversation how many times? Probably, 10 times?
Yeah.
Sam, I've got so much work. I'm going to drown in work. And then 2 weeks later, all them projects are finished.
Yeah.
Sam, I've got no work. Well, and I remember specifically, because you never made that mistake again. We worked together because we done one-to-one coaching for a bit, didn't we? Again, you spent like your life savings on that.
The rest of my savings that I earned back, I spent them
inheritance.
again.
Yeah, but like we worked, and I was like, okay, stay consistent with the inputs, and you were, and then you just done it blindly. Started getting leads. 2-3 weeks on, got too many leads, and then you're like, I've got no time for pitching. Fell off the pitching, probably even stopped entirely.
Completely.
Yeah, and then you completely finished up all those projects, and then you had to start again. And this is why it's so important for people to never neglect the pitching, because that's your momentum. That's what keeps you going. That's what keeps the snowball rolling, in essence, because it can't grow if it's not rolling. That was quite profound, wasn't it? It can't grow if it's not rolling. But that's the thing, is like your pitching will keep that ball rolling. And now you've made that mistake once, and you never make it again.
Yeah. Now, if I'm super, super busy, I just send the pitch anyway, because I'm like, do you know what? I will probably wrap up this project, or the worst case, I'm going to take a call with this guy and it's not going to be a good fit anyway. And then I can and what you can do when you're that busy is it's better to try and get the leads in, and you can almost spend extra time vetting these leads now and being like, this isn't the right budget for me. This isn't the right project for me. Now I have the luxury to say, actually, no thanks. When you're starting out, you don't have that luxury. You'll take anything for any price. Now I can say, actually, no thanks. This isn't really my budget. Here's somebody else who can do it.
Yeah.
Just by pitching consistently, you'll also be able to get yourself different kind of leads that might be a fit, might not be a fit. But at the end of the day, like you said, you're always progressing your business in some way by just pitching. If that's the one thing you do every day, I would say just pitch.
Yeah. And the thing is, what you picked up on there is like, you come onto a call and you can test new rates.
Yeah.
Like, you are so busy that you don't need the work. And so if it's something that you don't even want, you can just try an obscene rate.
Yeah.
And be like, okay, instead of my usual rate, some people starting out, it's $500. Well, then let's try and break into a new threshold, because, you can say, okay, $1,000. If they don't nibble, well, then I couldn't take it on anyway.
Yep.
If they do, well, then I'll find space, I'll find time. And then once you crack that new equilibrium, I guess, of $1,000, then that almost becomes your new baseline.
Yeah.
And so it's an amazing feeling to not be desperate on a call.
It is.
Because clients will then, like, they will smell desperation. And if you try and sell yourself on a call, they're just going to go, oh.
And you will do that when you're starting out. Yeah. You will do that. You will make that mistake. I had it before where I tried to land a client, probably a little bit desperate when I was working 9 to 5. And I didn't land them, and you ended up landing them in retaliation. And the difference really probably was the experience, of course, but also the approach. You didn't really need that client. You just joined the call.
And then I had you build it for 10% of the price.
Capitalism. But
I remember that, and it does boil down to approach. And what a lot of people don't realize is the doctored approach, which we speak about all the time, is you come on a call and you say, hey, instead of being like, I can do this, blah, 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 you just say, hey, how can I help? Tell me a bit about you.
Yep.
Tell me a bit about your problems and how you see me helping. You then frame yourself as the solution. They've come on a call, they've vetted you anyway. Be relaxed. Even if you don't feel it, you can be fidgeting under the camera.
All you really have to say is, yes, I can help you with this. You don't have to go into detail of how you're going to solve the problem. I'm going to have this shape block here. That's going to have this accordion that's going to open. Like, you can just say, yeah, I can help you with this. Sounds like something we can do. Makes sense. I'm going to send you the onboard form, and then I'll be able to take a look at what you want, and I'll come back to you with the proposal. That's it. That's what works.
That's it. And people don't believe it can be that simple. It's like, no, scam. No, can't do that. No.
Yeah.
Well, think about any time you've ever gone to a professional for that that you know is a professional and you want a solution from them. You've done your research on them. Let's just say it's a doctor because it's the doctor approach. You found the doctor, or you're in the doctor's practice that you've signed up to. You know you've got a problem. You go and describe it to the doctor. Then you trust their solution. You don't go, okay, well, thanks for the pills, doctor. How are you going to administer these to me? You just know that they're a doctor and you trust their expertise. Same applies for our designs. Like, if you can crack that, then that's it. You win. And I think that's what you've gotten now, especially because you stacked so much work. You were able to practice that a little bit more.
It's almost
I guess.
a crash course the way I've done it. And that's how I'd recommend anybody who joins the course or is thinking about it to do it, is just drown yourself in leads and calls and work, because like you say, it's just not some miracle that within a year I've gotten to the level I've got at. It's because I have crammed so many clients, so many calls into such a small space of time that I now don't have the same fear when I jump on a call. I don't have the desperation. Like you said, if this client doesn't want to go with me, I don't care. I have other clients. I have other things going on. I don't need the work. If they do want to go with me, they're going to have to pay more than they paid previously, but they're also going to get a really good product now because I've really worked on my craft over the last year, on not just with the websites, but with selling websites. I've worked on the whole craft. I know what I'm doing, and you have to pay a premium for that. And people are willing to pay a premium for that. And it's the same thing with your course. That's why I was willing to pay the premium, because it was a polished product. It wasn't a $50 course online where you were just giving me like really vague, like
a PDF.
Yeah.
Just one PDF.
Yeah, a PDF. Like, this is an underrated part of your course, actually. Is like, you can talk to Sam anytime you need anything and you'll get a direct reply from him. It's not a chat bot. It's not here's a resource I made. It's an actual answer from Sam. And that gives you the confidence to do and try things, because somebody else has already done it, and you can just ask, how would you say this to the client? Sam's going to tell you. You're going to send it over, and you already have confidence now because he knows what he's doing, and now you look like you know what he's doing. And then eventually now I have the experience. I don't need to ask him now because I know what I'm doing, and that's how it works.
Yeah, and the thing is, now that we've got people like you who've gone through the course and who are so experienced, and I want to touch on something in a sec, but people will come to you for advice.
Yeah.
There's other people in the course, like Keziah, she's been in the course for a long time. You guys were like accountability partners when you started. Now we have this seniority, so anyone can message me, obviously, and I'll get back to everyone on the day. But like, there's also people you can bounce things off and have as an accountability partner, or just get some advice off as someone who's been through the course. And it's nice that you have these people who've now done it, like you, who can offer advice from a different perspective.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice.
And often I'll find if I'm answering a question for somebody, you'll reply and just be like, that's what I would have said. And so it's like that, like, kind of wisdom almost like translates over. And it's like everybody in the course, it's not just like Sam's a genius as much as he thinks he is. Like, everybody has learned the same level of experience. People learn the different levels of experience. And then you can ask these people and you're going to get the same sort of answer you'd get from Sam because they have the same sort of experience that Sam has. And that's the beauty of the course. It's like everybody is pretty much on the same path. They're just on like a different level. Like, they've done a few extra months here or an extra year here. Some people have done it for a much longer time.
Longer than me.
But everybody there is doing the same thing and you have the same goal. And so there's no silly question. There's nothing stupid to ask. I asked questions about absolutely everything when I joined, if you remembered.
Yeah.
Absolutely everything. The tiniest details that I thought were silly, I got an answer from you or other people. And those little questions that you ask, eventually people are going to ask you the same questions. And that's just how it goes.
Yeah, and that's another example of a snowball, is you start internalizing all these tiny snowflakes of like, how do I align my button to the right? Well, that's not a stupid question.
Yeah.
That is part of the learning process. Someone will tell you in a few minutes, oh, do this. And instead of not wasting time, but instead of researching an answer that may take hours, and then you're still trying to figure it out, trying to make something fit, just ask someone directly, get an answer, internalize it. That becomes part of your knowledge set.
Mm-hmm.
And then you never, not make the mistake, but you'll never have to ask that question again.
Yep.
You've got that information and then you can pass that on. And people think, oh, well, surely the market's saturated. There's not enough work. Why would I help a competitor? It's just not true. You'll know this having come through and, we'll talk numbers in a minute, but earn a lot of dough from scratch, there's still levels to be had. And you're not taking food off my plate or anyone else's, and vice versa. Like, I don't know, how have you found that as coming from, let's say, the outside and thinking, oh, is this market even big enough? How have you navigated through feeling like, everyone's a competitor to now where you are, knowing that it's just a complete myth?
I went through all of that. I think, especially if you're working 9 to 5 and you're making a salary, which is a set number, and then you go to like running a business where you're charging almost that number for one project, you feel like, I need this project. I need it. It's my project. And you kind of get this guard up, like, these are my projects. But like you say, you realize just with experience that people have different things they work on. They have different clients. They're at different levels. They have different appeals. Like, I've lost clients just because I don't live in Australia and it's a different time zone. That's okay. There's an Australian designer who can help you, and you have to be okay with that. Like, you are going to win clients naturally just because you have some kind of advantage, whether it's location, whether it's price, whether it's I've done a lot of yoga sites, and this client, we just get on. We have like a natural connection when we talk. So you just have to be okay with, you can't win all the clients and you're not going to lose all of them. And it's going to average out okay in the end. You're going to get work. Everybody's going to get work.
That's, honestly, couldn't have put it better myself. Like, people feel like everyone's going after the same clients. Even if that were true, you still have, like you, an edge in some way, shape or form. Maybe it's because you've got a slight American accent, having been in America. For those who don't know, Nick, when did you move over? When you were 12?
2010, when I was 12 years old.
12? I got that right.
Yes.
Like, maybe you're talking to someone in the UK who's American. It can be all these tiny things where you have the advantage.
Yeah, you build a connection straight away. And it doesn't even have to be about the website. It could just be about, oh, I love yoga too. Yeah. And now you guys are best mates because of yoga. And that client already has a kind of connection to you. He wants to work with you. It's nothing to do with the website design or the price or anything. That could just be one example, but it could be you're just the cheapest guy, you're the fastest guy, you're whatever. There's always an advantage in every scenario. And there's always another reason you're winning a client. It's not just because you've presented a Squarespace website, because there's a billion Squarespace designers out there. It's because you and this client have a good connection for whatever reason. You understand each other, and that's why it works.
And that's what people should eventually grasp, is that you're not just a Squarespace designer. You're a Squarespace designer. Let's use you as an example. From the UK, design background. Okay, wasn't in Squarespace, but you have little things that you can do with graphic design. You got a US background. You're based in the UK. You have worked for By Crawford. Oof, it's the biggest one. But like, there's so many things that come into you just being a Squarespace designer. And so people, when they see, I'm doing the digital launchpad with Iman Gadzi. Now there's hundreds, if not thousands, of people, young Squarespace designers flooding into the market. They're all getting work. They're all eating, and yet we are all still making more money. So there's levels and there's breadth. Is it width and breadth? I don't know. But there's such vast size to the market that everyone can scale. And like, I think the quicker you can let go of that mindset of, oh, it's mine, I'm only going to get this project, the better, to be honest.
You have to emotionally separate yourself from the project. Like, the project is just a project. And on that day, that seems like that's your whole world. But when you look back, like now, there's probably some projects that I forget about because I've done that many this year.
Yeah.
There is loads that I forget about that I look back and I'm like, oh yeah, I did that too. And I'm not obsessing like that was my client. Like, I've already forgotten about that, and you'll move on. And you just have to look at the longer picture and just think, not every client's going to go with me. Some are, and all I need is some, because you're only going to be able to take on 5 to 10 projects a month max when you're at max capacity. I've tried to take on more. You're only going to take that many. And when you do that, what are you going to do then? There's still going to be thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of leads out there. You can't take them all on. Somebody else is going to take them on. That's just how it goes. So you can't be selfish and greedy. There's always going to be more work out there for you and for everybody else.
And you can't have a scarcity mindset of like, oh, but there's only, 4 leads a day. Well, there's like 4 million or whatever it is Squarespace websites out there. How on earth is one designer going to service all them? This is what I get when people are like, oh, well, if you make so much money, well, why have you got a course? It's like, well, because I work on about 100 websites a year. Out of how many new Squarespace websites in the world are there? I'm not like fueling my competitors. It's like, well, no, I'm just helping everyone get more money, do better work on more interesting things, and build a life, like in your case, that is so far from what it was initially. Like we'll just quickly, I keep saying quickly touch. I'm just not going to be quick at all. I want to go through like where you are now in terms of income. Like, if you don't mind, we'll talk figures.
Of course.
So let's talk about like figure. Let's go through figure where you were in your job, and I also really want to talk about how no matter how much effort that you put in, like that never changed.
Yeah, and that isn't a slight on the particular job I had. They're just paying the market rate, and the market rate, if you're a web designer or a graphic designer, 9 to 5 in England at least, it's probably, I was probably on the lower end, but it was probably, you're looking at £2,000 per month max. I was making a little bit less than that, to be honest. And so no matter what you do, you're going to get paid that same paycheck every month. And so the way I kind of framed it in my head was like, if I just take this risk on Squarespace, like literally all I need to do is land 3 small websites, like $500 each. If I can just land 3 $500 projects or 4, then I've already made my salary back. And then you think, well, if I can do that while I'm working 9 to 5, then what can I do when I'm not working a job? And I have all these hours that I can now use to pitching. And then you realize as you progress, like that number actually wasn't a lot of money. The thing you get in 9 to 5 is the security, but you're not actually getting a lot of money. You're getting security. And if you can let go of the security and just be okay with taking a risk, then you're going to realize the money is going to make what you had in your 9 to 5. You're going to realize that this was actually such a small number. I can make this from one project. And now you can just build project after project after project and just stack up multiples and multiples of what I was making, which is what I'm doing now. And I've built up this snowball now where, like you say, you get to a certain level of income and that's like your new baseline. Like I can't really go below that now because I'm already at this level in terms of invoices this month. But I also have 5 projects that are starting next month or I'm waiting for feedback on or I have to invoice next month. And so those are going to get paid after I've done these. And then it's just going to keep building up like that.
Well, that's what's crazy is that it's so true because once you get to like, so when was it? November, you hit like 10 grand?
Yeah, 2 months ago.
10 grand a month, which is just insane. And you then, because once you do that, so for those who don't know, you'll do 50% deposit, 50% upon completion. So what happens, because we don't just say this willy-nilly, like, well, once you hit that, you never go below.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you actually don't. If you keep your inputs correct, then you're always pitching and getting new work. But the 50% deposit that has propped up, because deposits are your cash flow. Once you get that deposit in, you'll probably finish in the next month. And you get that second 50%, which props up the next month anyway.
Yep.
And then you've still got to get all your deposits in. So realistically, it will only ever just stack on top.
Yeah.
And now what were you saying earlier about January's looking like what, 20K?
Yeah, so like after the 10K month, I did have a dip. But what happens is like that dip is only because of the projects. The invoices didn't fall how I wanted them to fall. And so they're actually going to fall this month now. And what's going to happen is I'm probably going to go over 10K this month. And then again, some things, invoices are going to move to next month. And then what's going to happen is that month's propped up. And like you say, if I just keep the inputs, now I can raise my rate a little bit because I have a bit of leverage. I don't need to take on a $500 website anymore, thankfully. I can take on a 2 or 3 or 4 or 5K website. So now when I take on one client, the monthly income is already much higher than it was when I took on one client 6 months ago. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to hit 20K and beyond. And that's, I can see exactly now. You almost have to do it to understand it. Yeah. But I can see exactly now how you've managed to surpass 40, 50, and you just keep going up because it's the same exact, you're doing exactly what I'm doing. You just have a little bit more leverage than me because you've done it longer than me and you're able to charge a bit more than me. Exactly. And that's all it is. It's just constantly repeating the same cycle over and over again.
And that's it. It's really black and white. It's deposit and completion fee. And all you have to do is raise your deposit in the next month. Raise your completion, you raise your rate, you'll get a raised deposit and then raise completion fee. Keep doing that. It's like this stairway. Like literally yesterday, I closed a $27,500 job me, even 3 years ago, would think it was impossible to charge a fee of that magnitude for a Squarespace website. But like, that's what people don't realize is Squarespace, you can scale your rates to whatever you want, because when you build on Squarespace in particular, you'll know this now, like clients respect the platform for its ease of use. A lot of clients will come from custom backgrounds where it costs 2K a month just to upkeep. It costs $100 to change the color of some fonts. We come in, Squarespace superheroes, save the day, charge one fee, and then they would have to pay hosting of like $300 a year. And we can then charge a premium for this. And now, as you said about my months, it's looking at 50, 60, 70K a month, because I've done exactly the same as you, but just slightly increased the deposit, slightly increased the completion fee, bam, 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 bam. And it's annoying that you're catching up so quickly, but you're just doing the exact same thing. And that's what I
Just
find
much better.
beautiful. Yeah. Just much better, only because I didn't have anyone to teach me. And
That's true.
you've got the world's greatest teacher.
Yes.
What, 3
The
feet away?
combination of teaching, talent.
Talent. Don't know about that. Nah, jokes. Like, I feel like you have just committed to being better and better and better, and learning from, okay, that doesn't work and why. Like, I remember the first few projects we done together, and I'd come in and just tweak really small things. Now I don't even touch the
You
site.
don't even look at the sites anymore.
No, I don't. I don't look at the sites, because I know that you can do such a good job, and I trust you to such a degree that you now even manage some projects entirely.
Mhm.
And this is what happens. People just don't believe that, like, business owners and agency owners, if you want to do white label work, will respect your craft enough to be like, hey, I want you to do all this work for me. But that's what happens.
And all they're looking for is an elegant solution to their problem. And like you say, Squarespace actually solves so many people's problems, because traditionally everybody has this thing where like, oh, I need to have a website in WordPress because everybody else does that. But like you say, they're paying crazy maintenance. They can't update anything. All the plugins break. Everything breaks. Everything's on fire all the time. We're offering a really elegant solution here. Like, you're just paying us one time. You're paying Squarespace $200 a year, and that's it. Like, everything else, Squarespace will take care of the rest. They're going to handle updates for you. They're going to handle plugins for you. All you need to do is log in and backspace a few letters and type a few new ones and press save. And that's all you need to do to change a word. Like, you don't need to pay us, the developers, to come back unless you want to. And that's the beauty of Squarespace as well. And like you say, it's the beauty of the clients just trusting the platform, but also trusting you to come up with a solution on the platform that's going to work for their business, because it will work for their business. Because if you're not Apple or something, then why do you need something that's custom built? Why can't you build something custom on Squarespace that's going to work for your business?
Exactly. And this such a myth that people think you can't customize Squarespace.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just templates. No, it's not just templates.
Yeah.
It's like, it's sections and blocks, and then you can add code to it. You just don't need a stupidly custom built, impossible to update platform. So,
Yep.
yeah. So if you were trying to advise someone who is in the position you were 12 months ago, and they want to get to where Nick is today, what advice would you give them?
You have to be honest with yourself. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and you have to say, I'm not happy with where my life is right now. And if you're not happy and you really are ready, like, a lot of people have ambition, but they're not actually going to do anything about that ambition. If you know in your heart that you are going to put the work in and you can make this happen, then just do it and don't look back. You need to jump in like I did. You need to jump in and you need to do everything every day. Just be on it every day, because that's kind of what I said to myself. I'm going to do the pitching every single day. I really don't care anymore if everybody says no every single day. I'm just going to keep doing it anyway. Almost just like it feels dumb doing it. But if you just keep doing it, because I'm going to say to myself at the end of the year, okay, I pitched for a year and I got no work. So, I gave it my all and it just didn't work. But that's not going to happen. What's going to happen is you're going to get a lead. It's going to be the best feeling in the world. And once you have that little taste of something, you're going to keep building on that again and again. And like I say, I am doing the same thing now that I did a year ago. I'm doing the exact same thing. That's what's hilarious. It's the same exact thing I'm doing a year ago. It's just that it's actually working now, because I've built this resume of work, and I've built this body of work and testimonials and experience and now it does work. And that's all it is. So you have to just be willing to commit, and you have to actually be willing to commit. You can't just say, yeah, I built one site. I sent one proposal off, didn't hear anything back. So, I'm busy. I have work. No, you have to do this every single day, and you just have to get used to just accepting no and just smiling through the no's. And you eventually are going to get a little break. And when you get that little break, everything changes.
I remember when you got your first one and it was like, oh, proof of concept, because that's what we kept calling it, was proof of concept.
Yeah.
It's like, now you've got a receipt that this, because we were trying to refine the pitch on Upwork, I remember. And it was like, oh, this does work.
Yeah.
So why don't you just copy and paste that 100 more times and we'll see what happens. And then you copy and paste it 100 more times. And you
got nobody.
Yeah. But then, you get 10 leads,
Mhm.
3 or 4 clients, and then it goes from there. And you get more power with your pitches when you have a body, like you say, a body of work behind you. And it's really hard not to keep saying snowball, but like that's the main concept. I mean, snowman's even better. Like, you're building a snowball on top of a snowball on top of a snowball and sticking a carrot in. But like, that is the main thing. If you want to gamify it, is like, just see how big you can roll this snowball.
And it is almost like a game. Like, if you're willing to put the hours in any game, you're going to level up in the game. And if you're willing to put the hours into just doing these pitches, like, okay, I'm going to suck for the first month, 2 months, 3 months. For me, it was probably like 3 months I wasted hundreds and hundreds of dollars on connects. I got nothing. But once I finally leveled up and got one client, you get this excitement in you. And then all you need to do now is just repeat that. But this time you have an advantage. This time you know what you're doing a little bit better than you did last time. This time I know how to say hello on the pitch. That's going to grab their attention a bit better. This time I already have a website. Oh yeah, I've done a yoga website. Here you go. Here's the yoga website I did. And then they're going to go, wow, I love that yoga website. Whereas before I was just like, yeah, I really like yoga industry. I'd love to do a site like this. Now I can say, yeah, I've done it. And that's what happens. You level up in every area, not just your skills with the pitching, your portfolio, your confidence, everything levels up. Everything starts becoming like a game to you. And now I'm at a high level of the game just because I was willing to suck at the beginning. So if you're going to join the course, just be willing to suck, be willing to accept no, and just commit. That's what I would say. You have to commit to it fully.
That was amazing. Honestly, it's so true. Like, you can't expect to get to level 99 without being a crappy level 1.
Yep.
Like, it's super simple. And I love that advice. What would be, or what has been your biggest surprise since joining the course, either right at the start or now or whenever? What has surprised you most? What has surprised you most?
This sounds really cliche, but I think it sounds extremely cliche, but I think the support network.
Yeah.
When I joined the Facebook group, I was a little bit intimidated to ask a question because I thought I was joining a group of Squarespace professionals, and they were just going to be like, who's this guy joining and asking, how do you move a button to the right? What a clown. But actually, they were really helpful. And then when you have this like safety net of people, not just you, but everybody else in the group who's already been there, and you have this sort of safety net around you, then it makes you feel like confident and empowered to ask more questions and to just try things out. And eventually you start getting compliments. Oh, I really like the way you did this. How did you do that? People start asking me, how did you make your portfolio look like that? I'm going to do that. And you gain this bit of confidence from just asking the questions. So I think the support group that is in Six Figure Design Club is huge. Just being able to ask people who are all extremely friendly, by the way, and extremely experienced, how do I do this? It doesn't always have to be directly from Sam, because like you said, somebody else has their own perspective of how they would do things. And that's probably the thing that really did surprise me was, you join groups on all sorts of things and they're always crap. They're always a waste of time. But this group is real people who really care and who really want to help you. And this group, like you say, nobody's a competitor. We're all actually helping each other because we all have learned to understand that we're all going to get work together. And that's the beauty of not just your group, but in particular your group. But it's the same for really the Squarespace community, I'd say. But your group is almost the embodiment of that.
Yeah, it's like the distilled version. But like that, I think everyone says the community itself is the best part. And that's crazy to me because I spent so bloody long making the course.
The course isn't really worth watching, to be honest.
The course is crap. But like the community, I do think it's the best thing. Like We've been to in-person events. We've done rooftop dinner with the private chef in London.
Amazing.
We went to Dumbo House in Dumbo.
Like being in a movie.
Yeah, it was like on the rooftop in Brooklyn and like looking over at the Brooklyn Bridge, wasn't it?
I look back now on my Instagram and I'm like, that I actually did that.
That
like,
was
like,
real.
you don't even appreciate it at the time until you look back and you're like, I was living like I was in some kind of movie. Like that's
Yeah.
amazing.
It's crazy. And, you know, for those who don't know, it's completely free. Like when you're in the community, all the dinners are free. I'm going to take, not everyone, I'm going to take a group of about 15 of us out to a castle in Spain to do like a retreat. It's just, and that's what I want to feed into more even more is the group and fostering like an even more, I would say in-person stuff, because we've done so many calls and group calls. We've done actually a good few in-person things now as well. And I think because everyone loves that so much, if we can do even more,
Just double down.
double down, man, grow the snowball. That's the thing. And I think you've hit the nail on the head there. Now we'll wrap up with one last question. This could go on for ages, but what's next? Talk to me about 2025, Nick.
What's next is exactly what I did this year. It's exactly the same, but this time I have leverage. This time I have a portfolio. This time I have experience. So I'm hoping actually to start 2025 the exact same way I started 24, with the same exact intensity and hunger that I started this year. I'm hoping to do the same exact thing next year and to push myself to the next level, to try and double where I'm at now, because I want to be able to look back next year and we'll be able to delete this video and re-record a new one
with a different top.
With the same top. But yeah, I want to be able to just double down on what I've done this year in every single area next year. And then I'll be able to look back and be like, wow, I really did that. And then I can do the same thing again the year after. But yeah, so that's what's next for me. It's doing exactly the same exact inputs I put in at the start this year. I'm going to do them again next year. And I'm going to see how far I can get myself to the next level of the game.
Yeah, I love it, man. I love it. And you've absolutely smashed it. Now, before we wrap up, I'm going to do a big fancy reveal. So let's hold that to the camera. Well, can you see that? There we go. So anyone who hits a 8.5K plus month, which technically over a year would make them a six-figure earner, gets the 100K customized Moe.
Beautiful.
It's like something from QVC. So I want to give this to you as a
Thank you
big
very much,
congratulations, my friend. Well done. I'm proud of you.
Give you a hug for that.
Hug on camera.
Why not?
Well
Thank you very much. Well done. That's all thanks to you and the amazing course.
Ah, well, there we go. What a way to end. Thank you very much.
Thank you.